Hello, Crypto World, Wednesday, midday in the United States, and we're in Greenland in the equity market, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ is up almost 1%, and it's really remarkable why. Apple's stock is up $11, almost 5%, and guess why? Tim Cook, the head of Apple, is going to Washington and is going to tell the President of the United States that Apple will invest $100 billion in the United States. Now, I have to mention this because this is really remarkable. Trump hiked the tariffs on India to 50%. The reason? India buys oil from Russia, and Trump doesn't like that. Now, the Indian government responded, and unsurprisingly, they weren't happy with that, and they basically said, look, we as a country have to get the oil we need for over 1 billion people. Now, interestingly, forget about the politics for a second, from the economic perspective of this, guess what happened? The dollar went down. The dollar goes down, and now we jump over to crypto land. And when we jump over to crypto, with the dollar going down, with the notion that tech stocks are rallying and risk is on in technology, crypto is rallying too. Not dramatically, but it is up. And once again, it's up on relatively light volume. And it's not, in my opinion, necessarily the beginning of a bull run, but it is a very obvious positive moment. And interestingly, in the last 4 days, the Bitcoin ETFs have suffered a loss in the number of assets, whereas the Ethereums have appreciated in the number of assets. And I always like to bring up when a entity starts putting Bitcoin on its balance sheet. And in this case, Michigan State, guess what they did? For their pension fund, they tripled the amount of Bitcoin exposure their pension fund has. Pretty amazing. Now, I'd like to share this observation that is really, I thought, very interesting. Bitcoin looks like two different assets before the ETF and after the ETF. The days of the parabolic bull markets and devastating bear markets appear to be over. Bitcoin is now not involved in the same kind of cycles, in part because of the presence of ETFs and the institutional buying that's coming in, which is reducing the volatility. And I'd like to add that that also appears to be true with respect to Ethereum. So all these market cycles may not be as, if you will, prominent as they were before, because we now have a new element, the ETFs. Bottom line, we're in Greenland, we're not up on radical volume, and we're not seeing a huge move, but we are green. Now, there's something I want to point out that I think is very remarkable. The tariffs of 50%, which is a startling number, put on India because they buy oil from Russia, weren't put on China, which is one of the largest buyers of oil from Russia. So this shows me, at least it suggests, that the United States is in a positive negotiating attitude with China, because had the United States put these tariffs of 50% on China because they bought oil from Russia, I think we might have had a tough negotiation for tariffs. In any event, Greenland, let's see what happens. Keep your eye on this tariff war. It is really remarkable.